Hey guys, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's build, we are building in Willow Creek once again. I feel like I've built in Willow Creek a lot recently. Maybe I haven't. It might just be the way my brain is working, but we're building in this 30 by 20 lot called Bargain Bend. It's in one of the cheaper neighborhoods in Willow Creek, but the build ends up coming out to 40,609 simoleons, assuming you do in fact place it on this exact lot. If you are interested in downloading this build, you can find it on the gallery under my EAID, which is ashleyyangelinaa, spelt with 2 Y's and 2 A's at the end of Angelina. And you can also find it under my hashtag ashleyyangelinaa, spelt the same, with 2 Y's and 2 A's at the end of Angelina. But this comes out to be a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It is a fixer-upper. So originally when I first started building here, I wasn't sure if I wanted to make it more of like a fixer-upper or more of like a rundown style home, but I feel like fixer-upper just sounds more positive. It's still a very livable home. I feel like if you had this really like rundown home, it would, I don't know, come off a bit more dumpy. So I wanted to make it still be very livable. Like I said, there are 2 bedrooms, so you could have a roommate in the 2nd bedroom, or you could have a child or a toddler. I mean, anything like that. I do end up placing just a normal single bed in there. So realistically, the sim that would live in that room would ideally have to be at least a child. But of course, you could always switch it out and put in a toddler bed or make it a nursery. You could really move things around. But I'd say the only thing that's not super family friendly about this exact home is in the living room, there is only one armchair. So there's no sofa, no couch. It seats just one sim. Sometimes when I play tested here, my sim wouldn't even automatically sit in the chair. They would just stand and watch TV, which fine by me, whatever. But that's the only thing that's not like quote unquote family friendly, I suppose. But it's still doable. It's still very functional. And I did need to give a little bit of a shout out and like an inspo, essentially shout out to Sim Lissy. So Sim Lissy is a builder here on YouTube. She is an amazing builder. I've been watching her builds for a few years now. And she actually just recently built a home that looks a lot like this on the exterior. I can't remember what the interior of her home looked like. I want to say it was a little bit slightly like rundown-ish, kind of like this one, and it was for a paranoid sim. So I can't remember if she actually built it in Strangerville or not, but it was for a Strangerville style sim. Someone that's really trying to figure out the mystery going on in Strangerville. So she made it a paranoid sim, which I was like, wow, that's super creative. I would have never thought of that specifically. But I was thinking that just parts of Willow Creek, I mean, at least in my opinion, Willow Creek comes off as a bit of an older community, and it's been here for a long time, and this home definitely looks like it's probably one of the originals. Maybe has a little bit of a fresher paint on it, but for the most part, it's pretty original on the inside. The carpet is really old. The walls are old. I used the swatches of carpet and oh my gosh, not flooring. Carpet is flooring and wallpapers from City Living because they're a bit more dingy, and that's what I was going for, but still it comes off cute. Like it's not totally like, I don't know, ugly and dumpy, I guess is like the 2 words that are coming to my mind. But yeah, I think it works out well. In this garage area, we do end up placing a juice fizzing machine and just some other like garage clutter. I end up placing an old refrigerator out there that's also from City Living. It's the base game refrigerator, but just like the more dingy swatch. And I think I just placed, just typical garage clutter. So it very much comes off as a garage. The only functional thing in there really for your sim to do is be able to make some juices. So I was thinking that one of the sims, or the sim that lives here, is really into juice fizzing. So I do end up placing some planter boxes out in the backyard, and I was thinking that maybe they grow their own fruit or veggies or herbs, whatever they decide to make for their juices. And I just thought that was kind of a nice idea. I've definitely done that a handful of times. I always resort to planter boxes and chicken coops and things like that just because, I don't know, I feel like that's just kind of my build style. I love when your sims are very self-sufficient in that way. and they can save money, but they could also make money. So it all kind of just balances out in that sense, no matter what you end up doing with whatever your Sims are growing. But as you can see, we are now starting to furnish. We put together the floor plan downstairs. We end up putting together the floor plan upstairs once we're done down here, because I completely forgot. I'm always just jumping right into the kitchen because I feel like for me personally, just the kitchen really sets the tone for what the rest of the build is going to look like. Of course, I went into this build with a specific idea of what I wanted it to look like, but the kitchen, like I said, just sets the tone. That's the best way I could put it. So that's where we started off, as we typically do in my builds. And as you can see, we just randomly placed an RV outside. I was thinking also that maybe the sim that lives here, or family, or 2 sims that live here, whoever you decide to end up having live in this home, they enjoy fishing, therefore they probably are a little bit more outdoorsy, so maybe they like to go camping. Of course, they have an RV, so maybe they don't like to be super outdoorsy, like in a tent, but I still know plenty of people that have an RV and just love the outdoors, but they love it so much that they'll stay camping for like weeks on end. So then I can completely understand having an RV. So anyway, I was just thinking that this sim is outdoorsy, loves to fish, likes to camp, just spend time outside, whether it's, you know, out in the wilderness of Granite Falls or in their backyard. We do end up placing a fishing pond back there with some fish. I can't remember if I stocked it with fish before I uploaded it to the gallery, but you guys definitely have the capabilities of doing that, assuming that, well, you know what, that's a base game function. I was going to say, assuming that you have the outdoor retreat pack, but that's a base game function, so you should be good to go there. But as you can see, I forgot to place a refrigerator. That was a little bit of a tongue twister. I forgot to place a refrigerator. So we end up placing just a cheap little base game one over here, and just lots of cheap appliances, base game appliances, nothing too fancy, of course, because that's actually the opposite of what we're going for here. Like I said, I wanted to make this house look kind of dingy. I think it would be fun to fix it up on my own, maybe make like a separate video for that. But I also put out a lot of debug, like takeout stuff. Like I put a pizza box, a Chinese food box. I put out some cartons like of juice and milk and all that stuff. So I was thinking that this sim doesn't really cook much. They probably just make fast meals and use their microwave and things like that. So there ends up being a microwave in here. It's very functional. Everything works great, as you would imagine. That's kind of the whole point. But we're creating this little dining room area, and I've noticed before, and I forget to keep this in mind when I'm building, but a lot of the times when you have a whole separate dining area away from your kitchen and your sims go to clean up after themselves, like, you know, put their dishes in the dishwasher or wash them in the sink, they often only pick up their own plate. They don't pick up other dishes and plates around the house, which is something that kind of bothers me, and I just always forget to do that because I don't often separate the dining room and the kitchen, at least like this, like I did in this build. So that's the only thing, but honestly, I've gotten in the habit recently within the last couple months of just dragging and dropping it on my own, unless my sims are, you know, preferably they prefer a more clean household. So sometimes they'll just do it automatically on their own, but then still they'll leave behind other dishes from other sims that, you know, didn't clean up after themselves. So I'd say that's my only complaint about this specific floor plan. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's because, you know, the rooms are not in the same room. Like, they're completely separate rooms. I don't know if you guys have ever struggled with that specifically, but I've noticed that, and I feel that's what the issue is. So it's definitely like, you know, there's a way around it. I just didn't keep that in mind when I built here, but I do end up loving the way this dining room turned out. I do unfortunately end up off camera having to switch out the table for a smaller one. So I end up placing, I think, a circular table. It's very rustic looking like this one and more like worn out sort of. But yeah, the square table was too big. Your sims could easily get to the chairs, but then if they sat at any of the chairs that are like farthest back in the dining room, like against the window, they couldn't get out. So they were like a little stuck. So I ended up having to make it a little bit smaller, but there's still 4 chairs. So you could still easily fit 4 Sims at this table to have dinner together or whatever. But now we are decorating and furnishing the downstairs bathroom. Again, very old and dingy looking, very outdated with this old tile here. I did struggle a little bit with what exactly like wallpaper I wanted to use. So I can't remember if we find it right now. It looks like we do, but I feel like I might change it later. I don't fully remember. I was just trying to find like old wallpaper that just really gave off the vibe of like, oh, this house is completely original, hasn't been touched up at all. So that's kind of what we were going for. And then I'm just placing some more random clutter. As you can see, or I don't know if you guys noticed, but I haven't placed a microwave in the kitchen yet. I can't remember if I do it on camera or not, but there is a microwave in there because, again, I was thinking the Sim that lives here is maybe not lazy, but they're totally fine with like, microwave meals, hot, like, burritos, all that stuff. Maybe you could place a fire pit outside. And like I said, assuming that you follow along with my storyline, they like fishing, they could roast some fish out there, nightly, because they probably have lots of fish in their inventory. And they could still have a fresh meal, but it's still very easy. They just throw it over the fire and kind of like chill outside. Just like 2 things that they love to do. But anyway, like I said, there's a pond out back stocked with fish. What else did I miss? I think that's it, actually. Oh, and I was thinking too, I end up placing some pet stuff in here. So I was thinking that this Sim has a very loyal dog. I don't know why. I just feel like this Sim, no matter where they go, they have their dog following them around their property. When they go to like, hang out in the garage and make some juices, their dog follows them. And same when they're like, if they happen to cook, or when they're hanging out downstairs in here watching TV, their dog is right there with them, hanging out, taking a nap, whatever. So we do end up placing a dog bowl, or a pet bowl, I guess I should say, and then a little pet bed. But again, I was thinking more along the lines of a dog. But you could easily, have a cat here. You would just have to place maybe a scratching post and a cat litter box for sure, and place a little toy, or the little box of toys, little toy box for the dog. And that's pretty much it when it came to like me thinking about this Sim's personality and just like their day-to-day life. I often, when I play test, I do actually create Sims that would go perfectly in these homes. So I did create a very unique Sim, I would say. I made him paranoid because I was thinking that he just kind of has like a quirky personality. But other than that, no like other like Strangerville-esque kind of like lifestyle necessarily. I was thinking more like outdoor retreat type of Sim, I guess, if you had to like place them in a pack. They wear lots of more like outdoorsy looking clothes, like one of the shirts that I think they wear on like a daily basis, or maybe it's one of their winter outfits or exercise outfits. I really can't remember, but it's one of the shirts from Outdoor Retreat, and it has like, it's like a long sleeve. It almost looks like a thick crew neck, like maybe like jacket or something. And then it has like a little vest, like a zip up vest over it. I end up having them in like cargo shorts during the summertime, and they wear boots a lot, like hiking boots. So I was thinking that just the Sim is just very outdoorsy, loves to spend time outside. Maybe they're not necessarily like, doing yard work per se, but they do spend lots of time outside and just in the outdoors. So cargo pants and hiking boots it is. I just feel like it just goes so well. And obviously 2 of those items, or both of those items, came from Outdoor Retreat, so it only made sense to me. But as you can see, we're kind of trying to figure out like the configuration of where I want to put the RV. At first I was going to put it in the backyard and create almost like a second driveway, but I don't know. I just felt like it just wasn't working. I just felt like it looked kind of odd, and I thought that the house would look better for screenshot purposes with the RV in the front of the home. So that's what we did, and I ended up putting a little debug fence around it, which is, all broken and in little pieces. So again, probably original fencing. And then I'm just finding some more debug plants. I think I went through debug a lot for this build just because I knew that there was a lot of specific items that I felt would work really well here. So I had to search through that a lot. I did have to cut out quite a bit of actual like footage of that because debug is really hard to navigate, in my opinion. It always has been. I used to have the Better by mod that like helps you, it like organizes your debug and all of that for you. But that actually made it more confusing for me because I've been playing The Sims the same way for so long. I do kind of know, like, for example, like, you know, the debug stepping stones. I know to find them kind of like it's all in the base game section of the debug catalog, but it's near a lot of like the Oasis Springs items. At least that's kind of how I interpreted it. Lots of Oasis Springs style live edit objects basically. So I don't know, as much as I still get lost in that exact catalog, I still can somewhat find things, but there's also a lot of items that I don't ever touch. And so a lot of the times when I'm going through debug and I'm looking for, you know, say like junkyard clutter, like how I kind of was here at one point, I came across a lot of things that I was like, ooh, what's this? And then I'm like, oh, it's like a huge giant building from like City Living or something. Like, I don't know. I think there's some things in the debug catalog that I'm like, we don't need that at all. But anyway, we are now putting together the pond and just kind of trying to finish up the backyard, try to figure out the vibes out here right now. Just pretty much placing down some more debug plants and trying to figure out if I wanted it to look more overgrown or slightly more manicured. I wasn't really sure, but I felt like those bushes worked just fine. They're a little overgrown, but they're still very like trimmed at the same time. So whatever, I threw them back there and I think it ends up looking just fine. But now, as you can see, we've moved on to the upstairs, put together the floor plan pretty quickly. And I think I end up changing up the shape of this bathroom, therefore changing the shape of the bedroom that it's attached to just ever so slightly because I didn't have anywhere to put a sink. So we ended up doing that later. I literally just placed a shower tub combo and a toilet and then realized I don't have anywhere to put a sink. So I was like, you know what? We'll get to that in a minute. Let's move on because it was like frustrating me. So we end up decorating this bedroom a little bit here. My scoot function with my game works when I don't really care for it to and doesn't work when I need it to. So if you guys have issues with your Sims scooting over to fit 2 Sims into a bed when the bed is pushed against the wall, then you may want to reconfigure this bedroom or figure out a way to make it work. But a lot of the times I'll have a single Sim get into a bed and they scoot all the way against the wall. And then when I'm trying to have my Sims sleep in the bed together, they won't scoot. It's very annoying. But anyway, if you guys know a way around that or know some kind of like tricks, let me know. I would love to know because it would make me feel a lot better about having bedrooms like this that I upload to the gallery for you guys. It just only makes more sense that way, especially if I'm, you know, trying to advertise a certain home as like a family home, but the bed is pushed up against the wall. Then it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? But I quickly wanted to mention the new kit that just came out. So I think it's called Little Campers. I just got it, and my next build that's coming out, which will be next week's, is going to have pretty much as many of the items that I can fit into that build. So far for that build, I've only built the exterior and a little bit of the interior. Of course, I started in the kitchen, so I don't think there's any of the Little Campers kit items in there, but I want to use as many of them as I can. I'm obsessed with quite a few items in there, so I'm going to try to use them all, especially the ones that I like the most. One of the items I really, really like is the little radio. It's so stinking cute. I'll definitely use it in future builds, especially for like family-friendly, kid-friendly builds. But what do you guys think about the kit? Let me know. I think it's super adorable because I personally just love family builds and family homes and eclectic homes, which I feel like this kind of falls into that category a little bit. But yeah, if you guys are interested, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on my videos because I will be, like I said, uploading a Little Campers build next week. But anyway, we are coming up on the screenshots, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you stuck around, and I hope you continue to stick around for the screenshots because they are rolling right now. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. I'll have all my handles and my info linked down below for you, and I hope to see you in a future build. Bye!